Hello, welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. Today, we're continuing our coverage of the West Memphis 3 with Jacob of the Rise to Liberty podcast. In this episode, we'll be focusing in on many confessions of the West Memphis 3. The many confessions. We're making a whole episode of it, and there will be probably more to come. I hope you enjoy this episode. We will see you in it. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. We'll see you in the show. Welcome back to the show, Jacob. I hope you like my beautiful backdrop. This is my kitchen being renovated. You can see the stuff hanging in the background. This is why you guys have seen me lately streaming from my daughter's room at times. But the old lady's sleeping. She took the night off work, so I had to go out here, and the kids are sleeping in their room. So I am recording with the renovation backdrop, but we're continuing our series of the West Memphis 3 regardless. Pleasure to have you again with us, Jacob. I guess today we talked last episode about all the West Memphis 3 was kind of an introductory episode, kind of for those like me who are just kind of too embarrassed to say we don't know what the fuck people are talking about when they talk about the West Memphis 3. So we got that little refresher. Now we're going to actually get a little bit more in depth so we can kind of come away from here, from this story, actually being a little bit more knowledgeable than just kind of the basics. Today we'll be digging into the many confessions. You have any thoughts, perhaps, about these? I mean, we were talking before this. It is kind of crazy how many there are. I don't know if you just have any thoughts on this. I mean, it's not Damien Eccles, I believe, that was the main one, or who did, because everyone usually thinks of Damien Eccles when they think of the West Memphis 3, but it wasn't him with these confessions. It was one of the other guys. So I don't know if you want to kind of introduce this a theme that we'll be going into. I mean, if you have any thoughts, is it a duper's delight thing? What is it with this one unhinged dude that's just dropping all the deets all the time to everyone? You're muted, by the way.
I did that earlier too.
Yeah,
fucking mute button. But so yeah, the person who confessed is Jessie Misskelley, one of the three. So just for reference, there's Damien Eccles, Jessie Misskelley, and Jason Baldwin. These are who is referred to as the West Memphis 3. Although I do believe that the West Memphis 3 title should be reserved for the little boys who lost their lives. Now, Jessie Misskelley, in my personal opinion, after going through all of this and deep diving as much as I have, I personally believe that, well, first I'll say, I think they're all three guilty of sin. And according to the law, they all three are. They are twice convicted child murderers, period. That is what the law says, but they are out walking around. Now, my personal opinion, and this could probably be argued, but I personally believe that Jessie Misskelley actually feels bad about what he did. Now, I don't think that means he's a good person or any of these other things, but I do genuinely believe that he has regret, which is the reason why he keeps confessing. But officially, as of this year, there are 8 official confessions on the record. So most people will say 4, but there's 8. And that's 8 confessions from somebody who is allegedly innocent, right? That's a lot of confessions for somebody who never committed the crime in the first place. And
100%. Yeah. Sorry.
right. And the thing is granted, and we'll kind of go through this, but there's details that changed, but there's core details that stay the same all the way through. And so that's kind of why I compiled all 8 confessions, to look at all of them, be able to see what stayed consistent, what changed, and kind of look at the details of like what was happening at the time. So yeah, it's incredibly interesting. But yeah, I do believe he has some sort of regret about what happened. The stories about him being sick and crying to people after, and admitting to people like immediately after it happened. Like I think he does have some sort of regret. And he's also the only person that stays out of the limelight. Damien's in the limelight all the time. He wants the attention. Jesse does not. He wants to stay the hell out of it. So
Well, all right. I guess let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into them. We had talked about starting from the lowest tier and working up, kind of that way. Kind of everyone does. You see those Watch Mojo top 10 type things. We're doing, I guess, top 8 and finishing off on the number 1. So we'll be going from the, I guess, the the least sensational to the most, or maybe not sensational is probably the wrong word, but the most revealing, I guess, perhaps would be the best way to put it. Now, as I was, I was just thinking about this. Now, feel free to pull an audible and go chronological with it if you'd prefer, because I was thinking about, I don't know which way would be the better presentation. I do like kind of, finishing off on the craziest one, but that could end up being confusing, right, from a chronological perspective. So I guess kind of you can kind of take point on that and choose whether you want to start from the bottom and work up, or if you just want to go chronological with it. Because I'm not sure. You probably have a better idea on which way would be the better way to present these ideas.
So first and foremost, let's see. Let's add this to the screen. So this is a document that I've been working on. At some point in time, as soon as I've got all of these documents where they need to be, there's 4 of them all together, I will make these available to the public just for free. Honestly, I know there's a lot of people out there that are like visual learners like myself, and they will help quite a bit. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can upsize this in the background just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just create a new layout for that. That'll help a little bit. But so yeah, once these are done, I will make these available. So basically, this is a pattern. Confessions span from May 6th, 1993, which is the day after the bodies were discovered, through October of 1994. These are confessions to multiple different people with consistent critical details. Now, I've used a confession ranking system. The purpose of the ranking system is not all confessions are equal in evidentiary value. This ranking helps prioritize which confessions to emphasize, or which ones to look at, which ones have the highest reliability, the maximum detail, that sort of thing. So there's tier 1. We'll run through these just real quick. Tier 1, maximum detail, highest reliability. June 3rd, 1993, first police confession, which was recorded. February 8th, 1994, the Bible confession, which was physical corroboration. May 6th, 1993, confession to Buddy Lucas. And I think this is of the most important. I think that is the most important confession, is the one to Buddy Lucas. Tier 2, moderate detail. And these are February 17th, 1994, to the prosecutors after conviction. February 4th, 1994, was in transport to prison, and he confessed to 2 deputies. Tier 3 was brief confessions, October 24th, 1994, to a cellmate, Michael Johnson, and June 11th, 1993, two own defense attorneys. And then Tier 4, minimum detail, which is August 19th, 1993, to attorney Dan Stidham. So we'll pretty much we'll combine like Tier 3 and 4. Because the ones that we really want to focus on are Tier 2 and Tier 1. So let's just let me see where these are. So confession 3. Let's see. I didn't really organize them to discuss them that way necessarily. Let's see.
Or do you have it presented in chronological? Because we can do chronological. That works fine too. So
Yeah.
Because it actually might be a better way to present it that way.
Right.
We know as these come. Although I guess it'd be a little bit more fun, so far as a presentation to end on the craziest one. But for a better understanding, I think it actually might be more fruitful to approach it from a chronological standpoint.
Yeah, let's just run through them like that. It'll just make it quicker. So confession number 1, like I said, this is the most important confession. He confessed to Buddy Lucas. Okay. Now this happened May 6th on 1993. Now, if anyone remembers from the timeline, the boys went missing on May 5th, 1993. And their bodies were discovered May 6th. And it says morning after bodies were discovered. Technically, they were discovered that afternoon, but that's just a little clerical error on my end. Anyways, this is a Tier 1 critical first confession. So this happened before the bodies were discovered. May 6, 1993 morning, approximately 9 a.m. Local time. Location, it happened at Jessie Misskelley's residence. The witness, Buddy Lucas, his friend. Context. The context of this this confession happened before any police interrogation happened. So the police just discovered the bodies. They're not even thinking about suspects quite yet. I mean, they're just barely recovering the bodies out of this drainage ditch. And this is when it happens. So what happened? Buddy Lucas went to Jesse's house around 9 in the morning, knocked on his door 3 to 4 times. Jesse was still in bed at this time. Big Jesse, which is Jessie Misskelley's father, was at work. Jesse finally opened the door, and Jesse didn't want Buddy inside. Buddy Lucas was coming to like hang out, see what he was doing. I mean, mind you, these kids were skipping school, right? So it was whatever. They were a bunch of degenerates, I guess,
Yeah, kids do it, yeah.
Right, exactly. These kids did it more frequently than most kids, but nonetheless, I mean, I skipped school too, It happens.
I actually was a dork who didn't really, but it was not that. It was more just I didn't want to have to deal with the trouble of redoing the work later, so just show up. It's easier to show up to school.
Right, exactly. So, Buddy was coming over to hang out with Jesse, but Jesse didn't want Buddy inside at all. And in fact, Jesse said to Buddy, quote, "Let's stay out here on the porch." Now that's from the confession that Buddy himself gave to the police. And they talked on the porch. Now, what is important is Jesse's condition at the time that he is talking to Buddy. According to what Buddy Lucas said, is Jesse was breaking out in a sweat. His eyes were watering, appeared to have been crying. He was incredibly anxious and distressed. The conversation, the way that the conversation went is that they talked about friends initially, it's just kind of pleasantries. Then Jesse told Buddy, quote, "Me, Jason, and Damien went walking last night in the town of West Memphis." Key detail, because the defense had argued that Damien, Jason, and Jessie were not in West Memphis. That was one of the first alibis of Damien Eccles. He wasn't even in West Memphis. He never went to West Memphis. He didn't even live in West Memphis. Well, that's just a blatant lie. They were in West Memphis. They were all palling around and they were walking around town. Buddy asked why they didn't come get him. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, you guys were hanging out and didn't come get me? Jessie told him we were in a hurry. Jessie told Buddy that Jessie told Buddy that Jessie got into a fight. Buddy asked, did Damien and Jason help you? Jessie said yes. Buddy asked, did you all hurt anybody? Did you all hurt anybody? Jessie said yes. Jessie's full admission, and now this is where things get pretty spicy. Jessie said that he was with Jason and Damien when they sacrificed them little kids, is what he said to Buddy Lucas. And mind you, I mean, the news isn't even really breaking on it at this point, because this is like, you know, between 9 and 10 in the morning. They didn't find the bodies of the little boys until about like 1:32. So nobody really knew of this yet. So sacrifice them little kids. Like, what the hell is he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So Buddy says back to him, I was going to come and tell the police. Jessie said, no, I'll do it. Jessie and he would tell the police. Jessie ended up admitting later on, I hit a couple in the back of the head to keep them from running. So this is one of the things out of the case, is that, and the police actually recovered a couple of sticks that were actually used in the assault. Let's see. I wonder if I have those real quick. If I can find those. Oh, no, wait, that's the crime scene. Right here. So let me just pull these up real quick. Come on. Maybe. Anyways, why that's getting pulled up, if it does pull up. This is the important part of Jessie admitting that Jessie said he was with Jason and Damien, so he already admits that. But then, because there's one part I probably should add to this, but Jessie had some like scrapes on him, you know, like some defensive wounds, basically, right? Yeah. But something that looked like, well, if you got in a fight with a couple of other guys, you would probably have these same types of wounds, right? And so that's what Buddy Lucas was asking about. And, you know, did you hurt anybody? Yeah, we got in a fight. And apparently at this point, when Jessie was trying to talk about it, he like broke down. He just couldn't contain it. His eyes just started just pouring tears, and he was like a blubbering mess. And this is when he says that when he was with Jason and Damien, when they sacrificed them little kids. So, I mean, trying to think from the point of, okay, well, they're innocent. Well, then why is this conversation even happening? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because that's kind of how I try to look at, well, I try to look at every project I ever do, is like, I try to take the logic from the official story. And the official story is that these three boys didn't do this. Well, using that logic, using that story, why would he even be having this conversation? Now, I will say this does depend upon this depends upon Buddy Lucas and if he is a trustworthy person.
Mm-hmm.
But Buddy Lucas is friends with Jessie. So why would he make up this story? Because this all comes from a confession from Buddy Lucas. So if these two are friends, he's going to cover for his friend, unless you know, he realizes that Jessie did this and is like, oh shit, I need to tell the cops. Like, I don't understand why Buddy would tell the cops this story, explain what happened, and then like it would be a lie. It doesn't make sense if this was completely made up. Because the police did confirm Buddy Lucas went over to Jessie's house that morning. So that's not in dispute at all. I guess what is in dispute is actually what the conversation was like. However, here's what's also confirmed. Jessie gave Buddy Lucas a pair of white and blue Adidas shoes. Now, this is confirmed. This is confirmed by police reports, the investigators. This was used during trial and everything. Jessie picked them up and started to hand them to Buddy, suddenly dropped them, broke out in a sweat, and started crying. He said to Buddy, "Man, take those shoes. I don't want to see them no more." Buddy asked, "Are you sure?" "Jessie, take them. I don't want to see them no more. I don't want to have nothing to do with them shoes." So Buddy took the shoes. So these were the shoes that Jessie was wearing when the three boys were murdered. Now, the corroborations. Buddy Lucas's polygraph results. Once again, I mean, it's a polygraph, right? It's not like everything, but it is one.
Yeah.
Right. It is one data point,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be taken into consideration. So now Buddy Lucas's polygraph results. Question number 3 was, did you tell the truth in your statement? Buddy answered no. So he's being asked if his statement to the police was the truth. Buddy said no, because he tried to play it off later like, no, I was just lying. I wasn't telling you the truth when I gave you this statement about this conversation. Well, they determined that was a lie. You know, where's that Maury meme? We've determined that was a lie. Meaning that the incriminating things about Jessie in his statements or in his statement was true. Question number 5 to Buddy Lucas was, did Jessie give you those shoes? Buddy answered no. They determined that was a lie, meaning Jessie did give him the shoes. Question number 7, did Jessie tell you Damien and Jason killed those boys? Buddy answered no. The polygraph, what the hell are those guys called? The polygrapher.
Sounds like a bad thing when you say it like that.
Polygrapher. He determined that Buddy Lucas was lying. So Jessie did tell him these things. Question number 9.
I feel like they're probably like polygraph technicians or something, but go on.
Right. When you were there, or were you there when the boys were killed? Buddy answered no. They determined that was the truth, meaning Buddy was not there. Now, why did Buddy lie on the polygraph? So he admitted he lied because he was afraid of his family's safety. He was afraid that Jessie would have somebody hurt him. He was afraid of Damien, and he knew Damien and Jason look like the type of person involved. So here's the one thing that like a lot of people don't talk about is the vibe around all of these friend groups is that lots of people were scared of Damien. Like they knew this kid would just like go off for no reason. They knew that he would freak out. And you know, he had a wild reputation. He had been in 3 separate mental hospitals for all sorts of various things. He was into weird shit, and the kids knew it because, surprise, teenagers know things about other teenagers that maybe the parents don't. Surprise. So people were genuinely scared of Damien and Jason because Damien and Jason were like best friends. So this is after Buddy was polygraphed, and this is when he admitted that he lied because he was afraid for his family's safety. He was afraid that Jesse might have somebody hurt his family because of what he told the police. He was definitely afraid of Damien. Knew Damien and Jason looked like the type of person involved. I mean, that's conjecture, but they do. In my opinion, they do. So, but this is of course, hindsight after the fact, all of these things. So Buddy knew that Jesse was telling the truth. So this is a quote from Detective Ridge and Buddy Lucas. Detective Ridge said, "You know when Jesse tells a lie and when he's telling the truth?" Question. Buddy. "Yes, sir." Detective Ridge. "Did you believe that he was telling or what he was telling you to be true?" Buddy. "Yeah, I could see it in his eyes." So at this point, police obtained the shoes through a search warrant on October 1993. Now, the significance of this entire confession, it's the very first confession. It's unprompted to a friend. It was before police involvement. It was, it says morning after, but it's the morning of when the bodies were discovered. It shows Jesse disposing of potential evidence, which it ended up being evidence. Verbal admission of guilt, emotional state consistent with guilt, and used word sacrificed before any public satanic panic cries. So this is why I think it makes the most important confession.
The first, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first. He's upset. He uses the word sacrifice, like I said, it does hinge on the credibility of Buddy Lucas. But the thing with that is, why would he lie is the thing. He has nothing to gain from it. And people don't lie unless there is something to gain.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're on to the second confession. This is June 3rd. We're still in a tier 1, so it seems like, although that makes sense, I guess the initial ones are probably going to be the ones that are going to probably be more raw, where they're going to be saying a lot more stuff out of pocket, and then they're going to clamp up as time goes on.
Real quick, I was going to show these. Let's see. So these are the sticks that were recovered. These were evidence because Jesse talked about, hitting a couple of the boys with sticks, that to prevent them from running, basically. And these were the sticks that were recovered, that the police found. And so these are basically what he used, or all 3 of them used. So, there is corroboration with. Yeah, exactly. And
have you ever seen those memes of people that be like, "Look at this stick I found"? That's what it looks like. a little more dark, a little more sinister here, but
right. But I mean, it's essentially the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, guys be playing with sticks. Yeah. So like that's
Tales
just how
time.
it is. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's all they were doing. They're just sword fighting in the woods. That's all that was going on. Right. Got a little carried away, got a little out of hand. All right. Now back to the second confession. Still obviously very juicy. Still in the tier 1. Oh, yeah. Still a raw type time period for him.
Right. So this is also an incredibly important confession, because this is where the timeline starts to split, when the people that claim innocence and the people that claim guilt kind of disagree, right? The people who claim innocent say that confession number 2, which is the first official confession to police that was recorded, they claim, the people who claim innocence say that this entire confession lasted like 10 to 12 hours is what you'll hear. Now, it was like 4. 2 of those were was Jesse being polygraphed. So it's like they want to make it seem as if the police sat him there for so long that he got to a point that he would just say anything. That's not true. It's not even close to true. It's not what happened. It's never what happened. It's never going to be what's happened, because the timeline of when they got there, they, meaning Jesse and his father, who gave permission to the police to be able to question him, it, like, none of that timeline lines up with the people who claim innocent. So let's get into this, because this is really important to know some of these details. So confession number 2 is June 3rd, 1993. This is to the West Memphis police. This is a recorded confession. Now, the one point before we get into it, the one point that the people who claim innocence do have is the entire time, the police were not recording the entire time. In fact, they only recorded about 30 minutes of the confession. Now, that's a huge fault on the police. Like, they should have been recording the whole thing, period. Like, that is true. They should have, and that was their fault on that. But that doesn't change the other bits of truth. So this is a tier 1, most detailed, most critical. The date was June 3rd, 1993. So this is the following month, almost to the day of 30 days. 1993 started somewhere between 2:44 and 3:18 p.m. The location, West Memphis Police Department. It was recorded, audio recording preserved. You can find copies of it out there, and it's not hard to find at all. The witnesses were Detective Brian Ridge, Inspector Gary Gitchell. The context, with father's written consent after Miranda rights and after a failed polygraph. So this is when the confession happened. So people who claim innocence will say that father did not give consent. He was never read his Miranda rights, and they don't even mention the polygraph. So what did he confess? So in this confession, he confessed to the pre-murder. In the pre-murder phase, he confessed to being or meeting at Robin Hood Hills around 6 p.m. So meeting with Jason and Damien at around 6 p.m. He claimed it to be the normal cult meeting time. All 3 had been drinking and smoking marijuana that afternoon. Jesse was drinking Evan Williams whiskey. Damien and Jason were also drinking beer, and all 3 of them had smoked 2 marijuana joints. Things that he admitted to in the attack sequence. 3 boys came by Robin Hood Hills around 7 p.m. when it was getting dark. Damien hit Christopher Byers. Jason hit Stevie Branch. Michael Moore ran. Jesse chased him and caught him. And all 3 of them beat all 3 boys severely. He also admits to the sexual assault. He admits that the boys were sodomized. Jesse admits to Jason wanting to cut Michael Moore's genitals. Jesse prevented Jason from cutting Michael. Now, this is a critical detail, because this is, in fact, probably the most critical detail out of this confession, because Jesse knew what boys were mutilated and which ones weren't correctly. Now, this was a key a key detail that was left out of any sort of reporting. The police kept this detail close to their chest. So outside of the detectives, nobody knew this detail. So exactly how is Jessie going to know this? Like, I mean, you literally have to think that he is the luckiest guesser of all time, that he guessed this correctly if he didn't have foreknowledge of it. I don't buy that. I don't buy that Jessie is just making shit up. He was kept there for 10 hours and he's just going to guess correctly. No, I'm not buying it. Most people don't either. Some other details that came out of this was that the boys were tied with shoelaces, wrist to ankle, which was also another key detail that was left out of any reporting at this time. The boys drowned in the ditch, and Christopher Byers was castrated. Apparently, Jason did that with the knife that they later found. Now, some of the key details about the cleanup of the crime scene. Well, first of all, that the crime scene was cleaned up is a massive detail that they got out of this confession. Jessie was quoted as saying that he wiped my footprints with a stick like a zigzag. So just like brushing it all over, trying to get rid of whatever leftover footprints were there. He was quoted as saying, covering up my footprints and everything and the blood. He also was quoted as saying, wipe them like in water. And you know the grammar is terrible, but if you listen to the recording, you'll understand why. He's not
Tennessee boys, so a little
right.
probably a little twang to it.
Arkansas boys.
Oh, Memphis. I always think it's Tennessee for some reason. Isn't there like one of those cities that's like on both sides of the border or something like that? Yep. Maybe. Okay, there you go. That's why the mix up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because Memphis is on one side of the Mississippi, and then West Memphis is right across the river. So, and then he was also quoted as saying, splashed water on the banks where blood was. Now, the key details that they learned after this, or after the murders had occurred, was that Jessie left around 8:30 p.m. because he couldn't stomach it anymore, is what he told police, is that it was making him too sick. They also learned that Damien and Jason stayed to finish killing the boys. Jessie also confessed that Jason called Jessie around 9 p.m. asking why he left. And Jessie told Jason that he couldn't handle it anymore. A couple of pieces of corroboration. Out of the Michael Moore detail, the autopsy confirmed Michael had no genital mutilation. Christopher and Stevie both did. Like I said, he guessed that correctly if he's the world's best guesser, or he had foreknowledge of it. The cleanup methods, the luminol testing 1 week later matched the description exactly to what Jessie had said in his confession. The 9 p.m. phone call, Lee Rush confirmed that Jessie got a 9 p.m. phone call and that Jessie was extremely upset about this. Let's see, crime scene layout. Michael Moore was found 30 feet from the others. So this confirms that Michael Moore tried to run away and Jessie caught up with him and hit him with a stick. Michael Moore didn't move after that. Let's see, from the others, Jessie said he held Michael separately while Damien and Jason continued brutalizing the other two boys. Also, the shoelaces. Bodies were bound with shoelaces, specifically shoelaces. Drowning, Jessie was able to confirm which boys drowned and which ones didn't, which is, once again, how do you know that if you weren't there? The significance Only someone present would know Michael wasn't mutilated. Cleanup description matches luminol testing after the confession. So, I mean, they've got crime scene evidence that matches his confession. The phone call independently verified by witnesses, and multiple non-public details were accurate. So, I mean, even if say that Jessie is retarded, because that's what they claim. They claim Jessie has an IQ of 72. It's not true, first of all. And you can tell this if you watch the first documentary, Paradise Lost. Jessie is being told by his defense that if you get a low score, then it will disqualify you for the death penalty. There's a whole scene. His defense attorney telling him, score low, and they won't kill you. like it's ridiculous. Now, he's not a smart man, he's not Einstein, but he's not a retard. And even if he is, he still knows right from wrong, because he's showing signs of guilt in confession 1 and confession 2. So, and once again, 8 confessions in total. Now, he's still, to this day, apparently, anytime like he's asked in like a big interview or whatever, has also made confession statements. So it's like, this is probably destroying him inside. And honestly, you know what? Good.
Yeah. To some extent, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm glad that he's speaking out, but
right.
Yeah. All right, we're on to confession 3. I think we'll actually probably maybe break the confessions up into 2 episodes now that I'm thinking about it. But we have June 11th, 1993. Now he'll be talking to his attorney, so we're going differing levels, differing people. We're at tier 3 now. I know the last one was pretty wild, was dropping some details that would be you would only know if you were actually partaking in the crime. Right. All right, now we have to his own attorneys, which, hey, this is a common thing. You hear these sort of confessions to attorneys and such. So, what did he have to say to his attorneys?
Yeah. So we'll be able to start moving through these a lot quicker, also because as we move down the tiers, they're less important. We don't need to focus on them as much. So. Although there are key details at certain ones. But anyways, so confession number 3, June 11th, 1993, like you said, to his own attorneys. And this is 8 days after being arrested. This is as far as my ranking system that I came up with, this is a tier 3, which means it's brief. But the reason why this confession is important is because it destroys the people who claim innocence. They claim that this was immediately recanted. And that's not true. It's not true at all. Once again, date June 11th, 93, to his own defense attorneys. Context 8 days after arrest, no police pressure. Okay. So that's also important to note, because they keep claiming, well, he confessed to the police because he was there for 10 hours and he just wanted to get out of there and he's dumb and they took advantage of a retard. And it's like, no. And this destroys that. So what happened? It's plain and simple. Jessie confessed to his own attorneys that he was involved in the murders. I was there. I did it. The significance of this is did not immediately recant as innocent advocates claim. Confessed to people trying to help him. No police coercion possible. Attorneys had no incentive for false confession. This is 8 days later, had time to think, and he still confessed. Like, what the fuck? Why? Like, you got to remember.
The cops are scary.
Right. And he's a retard.
Yeah.
Cops are scary. He's a retard. So we'll just move to confession 4. Like I said, so some of these, as we move down the tier, there's less detail that's significant, but this is the significant details. So
maybe we'll get through all of them. Never mind. Maybe I'm full of shit. So yeah.
So confession number 4. This is August 19th, 1993. This is to his attorney. This is when Jessie is in jail. Okay. This is to his attorney, Dan Stidham. ranking. This is a tier 4 on my importance ranking. This is supporting evidence, but there's minimal detail that you learn from this. And once again, anybody that wants to go look these up, you can find them. They're not hidden. They are out there. And in fact, I can give anyone who's interested the website to go find them. So this confession number 4, was August 19th, 1993. Location, Clay County Detention Center. This is to his defense attorney, Dan Stidham. Context, this is months after the arrest, and he's meeting with his lawyer. And what's interesting, this isn't like a super important meeting or anything. It's not like he's got court the next day or anything. It's just kind of a meeting, right? So what happened? Well, Jesse gave statements to his attorney, Dan Stidham, continuing to confirm his guilt in the murders. He just kept telling him, I did it. I was there. This is what happened. So it's the same details that we learned from the Buddy Lucas confession and the first confession to the police. The significance of this is because it's months after the arrest. There's no ongoing police interrogation. It's to his own lawyer, who needed truth to defend him in the first place, and continued confirmation of involvement.
So we got more confessions to. If anything, it sounds like probably just a repetitive confession to the lawyer, hoping something happens. It sounds like kind of wild. He's gone over and over and over again. But yeah, all right. Now we're on to confession 5, a little bit more important. So we're back up to tier 2.
Right. So confession number 5, February 4th, 1994. This is the day he was sentenced. So this is post-trial. Okay. This is ranking number 2. Very important. After conviction, no benefit, absolutely zero benefit to anybody. There's no point in him confessing at this point. He's already gone through the trial. Because for anyone who doesn't know, Jessie Misskelley and Jason Baldwin and Damian Eccles were all tried separate. Well, not all of them. Damian Eccles and Jason Baldwin were tried together. Jessie Misskelley was tried separately. Why Damian and Jason were tried together, we'll get into when we talk more about them. But Jessie Misskelley was tried separately from those other two. That's important to note. So this is literally, he's been sentenced. He's on his way to jail. He's on his way to prison right now. He has been sentenced to life in prison because of these crimes. So this is confession number 5. Why the hell is he even confessing at this point? Mind you, if he's innocent. So once again, date February 4th, 94, date of sentencing. Officers transporting him to prison is who he confesses to. The witnesses were deputies John Moody and James Lindsay. The distance that they drove, was 175 miles. It was a 175-mile drive from Corning to Pine Bluff. Context: after conviction, after sentencing, no legal benefit possible, period. So this is what he confesses. This is the details, either new details that were that was unknown at this point to any of the other confessions, or he was confirming details that were already known, are the details that I've outlined here. So what he confessed: substance use. He was drinking Evan Williams whiskey that afternoon, apparently started fairly early in the afternoon and drank it all day, drank beers with Damian, and smoked 2 joints with Damian and Jason.
And he smoked 2 joints, and he smoked 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's a good reference for those who get it. But go on.
He also confessed to Mrs. Vicky Hutchinson had bought him the whiskey, which was independently verified by her.
Now, is that like one of the other kids' moms or something? I would assume,
And
or
she's just a
relative.
neighborhood lady,
Okay. All
basically.
right. Okay.
There's a lot of adults in this. But I mean, we'll come back to her definitely at another time. But Vicky Hutchinson
I mean, it's not
bought it
that odd.
for
I know in
him.
high school I had adults who'd give me alcohol if I wanted to, so it's not that
Right,
crazy. So, and
right.
nothing weird or untoward was really going on there aside from the fact
Not
they're
really.
getting kids alcohol. So, just not that crazy. So,
Right. So he also confirmed he smoked the marijuana. He did inhale. Damien and Jason were also, or yeah, no, Jason wasn't drinking beer. That's a correction I need to make. So Damien was drinking beer. Jesse was drinking beer. Jason was not.
Damien's drinking
Damien's,
blood.
yeah, yeah, no kidding. And we'll definitely get to that stuff too. I have a whole occult document that we'll get to at some point. But Damien's behavior, Jason admitted, or Jesse admitted to Damien. Remembered a time when Jason was bleeding. So Damien was like making a big deal out of this because Damien apparently had drank Jason's blood. Can't remember exactly what the situation was because this was kind of like a secondhand like statement comment. Damien took blood with his finger and licked it off. So, but Damien would make comments about drinking human blood. This is one of the things that Jesse confirmed in this confession, which is confirmed by Damien's health records, which is subsequently called Exhibit 500 for anyone who's interested. I have the links for all of that too for anyone that's interested. But these details were confirmed in this confession. So this is why Jesse lied about the details in previous confessions. Jesse was quoted as saying, I lied about time and rope to trick police. To trick the police is actually the quote. But so basically he explains to these officers, because I mean the officers are driving him 175 miles. They're going to talk. And the officers are interested because it's like, shit, we're going to put this down in the report, which is actually where, you know, we get all of these details, is the report that both of these officers wrote once they dropped him off at prison. So Jesse, and this isn't the only thing that he really admits to, but he basically says that he lied about all of these details to hopefully throw the police off in the investigation. So the details that he, quote, didn't get correct, he intentionally lied about. And that's a reference to confession number 2, the one that he made directly to the police, that the one that was recorded. Jesse explains why said rope instead of shoelaces, because that was one of the key details. The innocence advocates will point to that. Well, he said rope instead of shoelaces. Yeah. Okay. Well, he explains that was a lie.
Are kind of basically a type. I mean, I don't know. Could you consider a shoelace a rope? I don't know what. How do you define a rope? I mean, this seems like some semantic difference. I mean, a rope.
Right.
I would think it's some sort of, you know, combination of threads intertwined together in some sort of long fashion. I don't know if it. I don't know what necessarily constitutes a rope as opposed to other things. I know maybe typically the type of material rope is a little bit different typically, but
I mean the same material that are made that shoelaces are made out of are also made into rope. So
yeah, I mean, I guess slightly different. So I feel like it might be more of like a grainy or. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it's the same fucking potato, basically.
Yeah, no, totally. And then Jesse also explains why the time estimates were off, which was one of the details that he changed in his police confession to throw investigators off. And that's what he tells these 2 officers on his way to prison. So it's like, what the fuck? Jesse's demeanor, he was allegedly laughing and smiling the entire time he was telling the story. So, you know, take that for what it is. Officers assured.
I mean, I guess real quick to back up your point about perhaps him feeling guilty. I mean, I know I can say as someone who laughs in inappropriate times. I guess if I was obviously to put myself in his shoes, if I was where he was at, it's kind of one of those like if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry type thing or something, or
Right.
you almost have to be glib. Perhaps I don't know. Maybe that's a way to understand this.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was going through like different emotions. Like there was probably times where he didn't give a shit. And then there were probably times where it really tore him up, you know?
Mm.
Like because he was involved in the first place. Like he didn't stop this while it was happening. Like even regardless of him being scared of Damien or Jason or whatever, like it doesn't matter. Like he didn't even like try to stop it. So he doesn't feel that guilty.
I'm also kind of wonder. It's never really something I've pondered too deep. I guess I've thought about this a little bit, but like being the perpetrator of such obscene traumas, I've always wondered if perhaps, and this may sound a little weird, maybe even controversial for some, if perhaps that could almost create its own separate trauma in a certain sense. And my point being is like perhaps at times these different mood swings could be some sort of something of a semblance of like a disassociation or something like that, being in a different modal, frame of thinking or something,
right, and
due
like
to this trauma that was
PTSD
subjected.
response.
Yeah, some sort of thing they subjected themselves to, which obviously we're going to feel a lot like we're not going to feel as bad for this trauma since it's a self-induced trauma, but it's a trauma still nonetheless.
Right.
So,
well, and I think that is totally true. Like it does happen because you notice like if you look at other criminals, like today I was researching some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff, and it seemed like early on in his career like he was more careful and like he cared more and everything, but then as time went on he just was just flippant about it, and so they get desensitized to it. And so this is like Jesse's like big crime, and he's never done anything like this up to this point. And so, yeah, it's going to traumatize him to a certain extent. Having seen this, I mean, that's why he left. He said he couldn't stomach it anymore. So, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. One thing that's important to note about this confession is that the officers kept him talking by assuring him that his confessions couldn't be used against him in a new trial, which is true. They weren't used against him in a new trial, but they were sure used as evidence and continued to be so. And then even based on that, he decided to confess anyways. So now this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but the corroboration for this. So the Evan Williams whiskey bottle. This matches a February 8th Bible confession, which we will get to. This is also a tier 1 confession, is the Bible confession. So Jesse said that he was drinking the whiskey, and after he'd left, he finished off the whiskey and he broke the bottle underneath an overpass. His defense attorney went to that overpass and they found the bottle. So could it be a different bottle? Maybe. I find that kind of unlikely. But yeah, so that's the corroboration. Also, Damien drinks blood, matches Exhibit 500 mental health records. So these mental health records are records that come from physicians. They come from his mental health physicians at 3 separate mental health facilities that he went to. And all 3 mental health facilities and physicians at those facilities confirmed that Damien had and continued to drink blood. So this is not like some wild, crazy, satanic panic conspiracy theory. Like, it's confirmed. Vicky Hutchinson corroborates the whiskey purchase. Now, the significance of this confession is after the conviction, there's no way to help his case. After sentencing, Jesse was already life plus 40 years. Like, what's the point? Assured it couldn't be used against him in a new trial, he still confessed. Officers had nothing to gain from false report. I mean, he's already going to prison. Why would the cops make this up is the thing. Maybe. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but is it likely? I don't see it being likely. Like, it just doesn't make sense, because it's even at that point, if the officers put in a fake report, it's not going to change his sentencing. It's not going to change anything. So why would they?
Yeah.
So,
because cops be doing cop stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry,
That's kind of, well, that's just kind of like the whole point of the people who claim innocence is,
yeah,
cops do cop stuff, and that's why cops bad.
Which that, I mean, I understand. I'm here for that argument, but you gotta give me some corroboration here. You gotta give me something. Not that I'm necessarily gonna knee jerk take the cop side, but I also like, if you're making a claim, I'm sorry, I mean, you're gonna have to back it up a little bit. But we're on to the Bible confession. We're back in tier 1. Things are getting a little, so we know it's gonna be a little juicy. So let's get into it.
So, confession number 6, February 8th, 1994, the Bible confession. This is one that's talked about a lot. This is hand on a Bible to attorney. Okay. And, take that for what it is. So, that's going to mean something to some people. It's going to mean jack shit to others. I mean, it's
to a trio of Satanists.
Yeah, right. So, and it's in my opinion, I think it does matter to a degree. It's like the polygraphs. It's a data point, right? And everything with this case is you've got to take it as a whole. You look at it individually, you look at the data points individually, but you take the whole thing as a whole, because any one of these by themselves is not necessarily incriminating. It's all of them together. That's what's incriminating. So this is a tier 1, second most critical physical corroboration. Date was February 8th, 1994, 4 days after sentencing. The location was the Department of Corrections in Arkansas. To his defense attorney, Dan Stidham. The witnesses that were present, Dan Stidham, the defense attorney, Brent Davis, the prosecutor, Gary Gitchell, the inspector or the investigator, and John Fogelman, the second prosecutor. The method of the confession was hand on a Bible, swore to tell the truth. So what did he confess? Well, the opening statement. Stidham was quoted as saying, "What's the truth, Jesse? I want to know the truth." Jesse: "The truth is, me and Jason and Damien done it." Okay. I mean, damn.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty damn straightforward. So, victim identification. Identified victim wearing Boy Scout uniform as Michael Moore.
Well, that makes it more fucked up, doesn't it?
Right.
I don't know why it's equally fucked up, I guess, but it feels more fucked up somehow.
Yeah, right. But he was able to identify the victim correctly. If he wasn't there and he was innocent, how was he able to do that? Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't tell me that Jesse's in prison reading the newspaper, getting details from the newspaper. That is retarded. He's not reading the newspaper, period, let alone inside the prison. He also identified the blonde one with face wound on left side, which was Stevie Branch. Stevie Branch was blonde with a huge cut on the left side of his face where Jason hit him with the survival knife. Jason's actions, another thing that was able to be confirmed through this confession. Jesse was quoted as saying, he, meaning Jason, he said he wanted to do the other one, the one I was beating up on. I told him no. So he's talking about Michael Moore. So Jesse was beating up Michael Moore. That's who he chased 30 feet away from the others because Michael Moore ran, Jesse caught up to him. Jason wanted to assault, slice up Michael, but Jesse told him no. I don't know why he did this, but that's what they were able to confirm through this. So what's interesting,
we've seen a few statements similar to this along these multiple confessions.
right?
And as weird, I guess, maybe we're being a little bit too nice to Jesse here, but as weird and as fucked up as it may sound, it sounds like he's actually, every time he's done this, it's been almost into reducing harm. He's still like killing the kids, like,
Right.
but as opposed to he's wanting to do the sort of things we hear about in like Program to Kill and like doing crazy, mutilation and displaying their bodies and yada yada, doing all. And whereas it seems like Jesse did not want to do this. It almost sounded like he just was like, let's just kill the kids and let's just go type thing. If anything,
Right.
So I don't know if it's a peer pressure, if he felt pushed into this or what, but it sounds like he just kind of wanted to do it and be done with it and not, I don't know, try to not. Obviously it's still incredibly awful, but like that's the
Right.
impression I'm getting at least.
Right. Well, and what's interesting is each confession becomes more and more true. Like there's less details that are wrong. There are less details that he lies about. And the reason why you see that disconnect from everything that I've done as far as the research is that killers still want to like distance themselves from the crimes that they committed. Like, unless you are like a genuine, complete sociopath and just don't give a shit. And there are those people, but Jessie Misskelley is not one of them. Like, I think he's a terrible person. I think he has psychopathy issues, but I don't believe that he's a genuine just sociopath that just doesn't give a shit. I think that's Damien. Because Damien wants to be in the spotlight. Jesse doesn't. There is some part of Jesse, some part in his dark soul that, this does tear him up. Now, it doesn't change anything. He's still a child murderer, but there is that to take into account. And let's see. So
he's an
Jason's
ethical child murderer, or a more ethical child murderer. I guess not
Right.
ethical. He's a more ethical than the alternative. I guess
the least guilty out of all the guilt.
Yeah. Who's most justified? That's awful. None of them are, but I guess who's most? That's the joke. That's the bit. But go on.
So Jason's actions that were also confirmed was referring to Jason wanting to mutilate Michael like he did Christopher. Jesse prevented it. Like, that's kind of a big deal. The whiskey bottle, which is the most important part of this confession, is that Jesse said he was drunk on Evan Williams whiskey, which definitely played into all of this. The fact that they were abusing substances, definitely got them like, it broke down their inhibitions,
Yeah, liquid courage.
So,
yeah,
right, exactly.
It sounds like he's confessing a bunch. He's seemingly trying to mitigate harm. It's very clear. It totally makes sense. It tracks that he would need some sort of liquid courage to help
Right.
make this happen in the first place.
Right, and I take it as, first of all, like Jesse was this kind of, he just wanted to get fucked up, like that's just what he wanted to do. And this just turned into something that he didn't plan on. I do think some of it was peer pressure. I think some of it was because he was scared of Damien and Jesse. But then it's like, if you're scared of these two, why the hell are you hanging out with them? Like that doesn't make sense, but hey, whatever. Now what's interesting about this, so he was drunk on Evan Williams whiskey, which is very specific, he said that he threw the bottle. The bottle broke under a bridge in West Memphis on the way home from the crime. Like I mentioned earlier, they went and found the broken bottle. The specific location was the I-40 underpass nearest to Walmart at that time. The attorney's response. So Dan Stidham's reaction to this. Talked to Jesse for 10 to 15 minutes. That's how long this whole thing lasted. Came out visibly shaken, very upset and unnerved. Dan Stidham grabbed the Bible, went back in for 30 to 45 minutes more, came out, told prosecutors his client's stories matched with the facts, said he would believe confession if they could find the bottle, which they did. So,
right.
and mind you, this is this is Jesse's defense attorney. So why is he saying this to him? You know, in front of the two prosecutors and the investigator. Dan Stidham, Gary Gitchell, John Fogelman, Brent Davis, all went to the I-40 underpass near Walmart, found the broken Evan Williams bottle in the exact location he said it was. Vicky Hutchinson verification. They called Vicky Hutchinson, asked if she bought Jesse Evan Williams on day of murders. Her response confirmed she did buy. So, just to kind of go through corroboration summary, Boy Scout uniform, Michael Moore confirmed wearing Cub Scout uniform. Blonde one, left side face wound, Stevie Branch confirmed. Michael not mutilated, autopsy confirmed. Evan Williams bottle found in exact location Jesse described. Vicky bought whiskey, she confirmed when called. Zigzag cleanup, repeated detail matching luminol. The significance, hand on Bible, sacred oath for some.
For whatever it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, it means something to some people. So
yeah.
To his own attorney, person trying to help him. And this is who he tells. Like, okay, that makes sense. But he does it in front of the two prosecutors and the investigator. That doesn't make sense if he's innocent. This is after conviction, no legal benefit. Physical corroboration, bottle found exactly where he said. Witness corroboration, Hutchinson confirmed whiskey. Victim detail, correctly identified specific injuries. Attorney, visibly shaken, clearly believed it was true. So it's like, at this point, it's like, I mean, just going through these, like, you're telling me that these people are innocent? I'm not buying it. You know,
it's I mean, we've seen a ton of corroboration in this part. I mean, the whiskey bottle's pretty convincing. I mean, but I mean, hell, we've got wounds, you know, being described, outfits. It's getting ridiculous. We're down to last two though. We're on tier 2 with this confession number 7 on February 17th, 1994. And this is to the prosecutors, I believe.
Yep. To the prosecutors 9 days after the Bible confession. Date February 17th, 1994. Two prosecutors, Brent Davis and John Fogelman. Okay, once again, to the prosecutors, not his defense. He's already been sentenced, already went through the trial. He's in prison. There's no reason for him to talk to these people. 9 days after Bible confession, 13 days after sentencing. So what happened? Prosecutors noted that Jesse had not been promised any deals for testimony. Okay, that's an important detail here. The defense attorneys begged him not to give this confession. So his attorneys begged him, don't do this. Please don't do this. Jesse's response, gave a confession anyways.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And then the content of what he confessed was the exact same story, the same details as the Bible confession.
Okay, so before it was to his lawyers or now it's going to prosecutors. This is why this is actually pretty damning, and so he's kind of doing it under basically damn near any scenario you can think of, whether it's to his benefit, not to his benefit, whether it's after sentencing, before sentencing, to his lawyers, to his prosecutor, to friends,
he's telling everybody.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. He's telling people, and I think it's like his subconscious or something. Like, I don't know why. But he did. And this is all confirmed, So the significance of this number 7, no deals were promised. Okay. That's a very important detail because he's not getting any time off. And even if he did, they give him 40 years off. He's still doing life. you know? So it's like, that doesn't make sense. Prosecutors documented this fact, though. The attorneys tried to stop him, and he insisted, gave it anyways. No possible benefit, already convicted and sentenced, maintained consistency, same story, 8+ months later. Once again, went against legal advice, confessed despite attorneys begging him not to. I thought that was important enough to mention twice.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Because,
and now we're on to number 8, and this is the one. It sounds like the one that's always the. Here's the one that, like, if this was the only one, we might side eye. We go, well, that's kind of dubious, you know. The tried and true. Oh, some cellmate overheard you say something, and just don't worry about the fact he's in jail for CP or something crazy, and oh wow, isn't that crazy? Things are going so well for him now.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's 7 confessions before this one.
I bet you people point to this one all the time, probably, don't they?
Oh yeah, all the time. The people that claim innocence, they're like, well, we can't trust him, but they also point to Buddy Lucas, the first one, and say, well, we can't trust Buddy Lucas. He's a liar too. And it's like,
we can't trust the prosecution. We can't trust the defense. We can't trust the
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. The people that claim innocence in this case are grasping for straws, but what they are hoping is that you don't know these details, period. So this is probably, as far as this topic goes, these details are of the utmost importance because it tells the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not embroiled in this West Memphis 3, but if I had to guess, I bet you how it goes is, did you know that one of his confession was to a cellmate and yada 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 yada, and then come to find out you're like, yeah, but what about the other 7? You're not mentioning that, So.
Yeah, and these are just the documented ones, like the official documented ones. There's plenty of others. There's tons of them that I didn't even think of mentioning because they're like offhanded comments or like interviews that he's given later on and like all sorts of stuff. And this is just Jesse. Like, just wait getting into Damien and Jason. Like, it just gets so much worse. So, confession number 8, October 24th, 1994, to cellmate Michael Johnson in prison. So, this is his bunkmate, right? They're just chilling in prison. Absolutely no reason to confess at this point. My ranking was tier 3. It's important. It's unprompted and in prison. Like I said, October 24th, 94, cellmate Michael Johnson, unprompted confession while incarcerated. Now, what happened? Michael Johnson's actions. Michael Johnson heard Jesse's confession. So they're sitting in the cell, they're chatting all day. So Michael Johnson, after he heard what Jesse said in his confession, wrote to the prosecutor, Brent Davis, and begged Davis to keep Jesse behind bars for the rest of his life. Said, please, for the love of God, never let this man out. I'm paraphrasing, but the letter, you can find the letter. It's out there in public. Johnson's description of Jesse was a cold, morbid person. That is a direct quote. Details that Johnson got right, all facts about the crime. So the letter, I believe, is like a 2 or 3 page letter, if I remember correctly.
Maybe that should be like the cold intro for the for our next episode on the evidence.
Right.
But yeah,
that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Accurate description of events, consistent with known evidence. So, I mean, he got it all right. So, how would he know that? I mean, yeah, I guess he could read, but here's the thing: is he's also confessing like specific details, right? Like stuff that the newspapers aren't going to cover, because newspapers, even back then, and there's a huge depository or database of all the newspaper coverage, all the way up till like now. And the newspapers never really covered the details back then. So this is in 94. This is not that long after the case, right? So yeah, October 24th, 94. I mean, the newspapers aren't covering the details at this point. So where is Johnson getting this unless he's getting it from Jesse? one detail prominent or potentially wrong with this, and this is important to point out, is Johnson said Jessie mentioned leaving a woman's nightgown at the scene. No nightgown was found at the scene. So that's kind of a weird, like, where the fuck did that come from? But
it's weird.
Fibers consistent with Jason Baldwin's mother's bathrobe was found on a victim.
All right.
So
that's a bathrobe, nightgown, potato. Yeah.
Exactly. Jessie called a bathrobe a nightgown,
Yeah.
So there is that. Now, the significant evidence, or the significance, it's unprompted confession to cellmate, not authorities, no benefit, already in prison, nearly perfect accuracy, all facts correct except one possibly wrong. That's pretty damn good. That's a 99% success rate,
Really, even maybe 100, depending how you define it,
Right. I mean, that's still an A, if you're going off of school grading, that's still an A. So bathrobe, nightgown, maybe same item, different terminology. Johnson's reaction: begged to keep Jessie locked up and called him cold and morbid.
Huh.
Like, that's pretty damning.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that, trying to understand where he's coming from with all this, confessing to everyone, yet this guy thinks he's a gigantic asshole. So, I guess to some extent he is, but I don't know. Once again, it's weird he's getting it off his chest. If I ever did something so ungodly awful, I'd tell fucking no one.
Right.
Like, easiest way to get caught is if you tell on yourself. But best way to not get caught is to not do it in the first place. So, count me out on child murder. I won't be doing that anytime soon.
No kidding.
So,
now here's a couple of last minute, confession reports that's kind of notable to include before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So people who once believed in their innocence, who no longer believe in their innocence. So prison counselors and West Memphis 3 supporters who stopped believing. The prison counselor for Jessie Misskelley, the dates are unknown for this, but for years, rumors circulated that Jessie continued confessing to prison counselors. Status: none have spoken publicly, so this, take that for what it is, but the corroboration is multiple independent reports from different sources have stated that at least, I think it's 3 or 4, minimum 3, maximum 4 prison counselors were once supporters who have now come out and stopped believing. That was either, people saying, well, I knew this person who gave the quote. So there were reporters that talked to some prison counselors, but none of them have ever come out publicly and said, my name is so-and-so and I say this. So take that for what it is. Now, this is kind of an odd thing, but there was a website back in the day. This was before the 2011 release of the three monsters, but there was a website called True Romance. And Jessie had befriended this girl. Allegedly, her name is Lindsay. Never found out her last name. She's never come forward. As far as I know, but she was a West Memphis 3 supporter. You can still find this message board, by the way. It is out there. The West Memphis 3 supporter who posted on discussion boards, real name possibly Lindsay, her actions. She befriended Jessie Misskelley, wrote and received letters, talked on the phone, visited Jessie in prison, believed in innocence initially. The conversation: asked Jessie directly, were you involved in the murders? Jessie gave an answer. Her response: immediately ceased all contact with Jessie, stopped believing in innocence, became a non-believer, never disclosed what he told her, but it clearly wasn't good. So the significance is sort of supporter became non-believer after direct conversation, immediate she stopped talking to him. Like, what the hell? Why? And once again, you can find these messages. You can find the messages that she put out there. So it's not like this person never existed. The website doesn't exist anymore, but it's on the Wayback Machine. Let's see. So Jesse's father, this one's significant, and then we'll get out of here.
Yep.
So the public statement on camera. This was June 7th, 1993, days after Jesse's arrest, and this was to KAIT TV. So this is a local affiliate in West Memphis. This was an on-camera interview. You can find the video. Super easy. Jessie Misskelley Sr., Jesse's father. What he said on camera, the on-camera admission, quote, Jesse Jr. may have been with Echols and Baldwin at the crime scene. Okay, so why this matters is his own father believed he was involved. He may have been there. Why the hell would he say that if he knew that his son was innocent? That doesn't make sense.
This was thrown under the bus.
Right. Public statement on camera. But the whole statement in context was basically like, well, he might have been there, but he didn't do anything. Was like the whole context, you know? And it's like, so he was there, but he didn't partake in the violence. Okay.
You should probably just not say anything, Dad.
Yeah, no shit. So this was a public statement on camera recorded days after arrest, immediate reaction, family acknowledged, father knows son, may have been there. You know, it's like, what the fuck? And so this is everything that's left in this document, basically pattern analysis. And like I said, this will be available once I finish like correcting all the mistakes and I go through everything. I mean, there's all sorts of extra information, but that's where we are. That's the 8 reported confessions. That's why it all matters.
But wait, there's more. Next episode, we'll be coming back to you guys talking about the actual evidence as opposed to just words that people said, which is evidence. It's evidence all the same. But we'll be talking the physical evidence if words don't do... Because sure, technically with confessions, I guess it is always like, it could be a whole bunch of coinky-dinks. Just so happens there was those fibers. Just so happens there was that Evan Williams. Just so happens it's like, sure, we can get swept up in a whirlwind of coincidences. But you get to a certain point with the physical evidence, you're like, I think we're beyond coincidence. I mean, we're beyond there with confessions as well. But just to kind of dead to rights, I mean, it is... It's astounding, you know, as it stands now, that this has become this thing that people ran with, you know, the Innocence Project or whatever. But here we are. Jacob, let people know where they can find you at, and we'll continue our coverage of this series again soon. We'll do this again pretty soon. I don't know, we'll figure out a time, probably in a week or so or something like that.
Yes, sir. So the best place people can find me, they can go to allmylinks.com/rise to liberty. You can check me out on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, all of those places. You can check me out on X, Telegram, all the places. Pretty much anywhere Rise to Liberty is where you can find me. You can also find me on Beware the Mockingbird on Substack, where I post all of my written articles. You know, I've got all sorts of things to help out the show. I've got a merch store, which you can go to risetoliberty.store, pick up an awesome mind control hoodie or a long sleeve shirt or coffee mug, all sorts of things. So that's the best places you can find me.
Hell yeah, brother. Be sure to, if you want to help this show out, hit that like button, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and Twitter as well, at Tower Gang Jose. And if you want to support the show in the best way you can do that with money over here. You can see the QR code over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 of those paywalled episodes per week. Try to keep 4 behind the paywall at any given time. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to Telegram and the pre-show, the post-show, and video calls from me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, that Jacob produces for. So he'll be there with us as well. He's a frequent joiner into the show. And I give a big shout out as a big thank you to my sponsors. It's the highest level of my Patreon. every episode, and as a big thank you to them, big shout out to the homie Tower Gang, my previous Toad, my previous co-host from Tower Gang at Learn Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZOVRCK, at _Infant Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at Jolly and Klebold, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Tackless, One Inherited Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob Winograd of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. And with that, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see you again on the next one, and we're out. Bye bye.